What's up guys, Preenon here, and today we're going to be talking about budgeting. So you might have saw my first video on how to save $1,000, so this is kind of the part 2 to that video. We're going to go in depth for budgeting. There's going to be two types of budgets we're going to be talking about. The first one's a really simple, easy budget for somebody who's never budgeted before, and then the second one is a little bit more advanced, and that's the way I budget myself. So here we go. So this next way to budget is super easy. Basically what we're going to do is this thing called the envelope trick. So we got to start by putting our income at the top. So for this example, we're going to have $300. We're going to write down all of our expenses. So for this example, we're also going to use just some simple examples here. So it's going to be gas, food, other, and then allowance, and then our total expenses. Next, we need to get an envelope for each of these expenses. So for the budget, we're only allowed to spend the money that we have budgeted out for each envelope. So we need to go out and cash our check, put the money in the envelopes. And so we're going to start off by using gas. So we have $50 for gas. If you fill up maybe like twice a week or once a week, you can just bring $25 each time. Next we have food. So this is like for groceries. We can go to the grocery store and bring $20 each time, but that's the only amount of money that we're allowed to spend when we're going out. Then next up we have our other, so this could be like, other expenses that you have, car payments, whatever, various things. Fill that in as it's needed. So this next one's our most important one. It's our allowance. This is that $70 that we can spend on anything we want. If we don't use the full $70 over the next 2 weeks, we can use the remaining amount towards our next allowance and then save up doing that too. Savings. So this is the amount of money that we're putting aside and not going to spend. It's super important that we don't spend that $70. Put it in a safe place, out of sight, out of mind. Make sure not to spend that so we can continue on for saving towards $1,000. Alright guys, so this is kind of the part 2 to the budget. This is the Google Sheets version of basically the same thing of the envelope trick, but everything's a little bit more digital. I like using this. This is actually the budget that I use. So we're going to start by using the exact same numbers that we used for the envelope trick. So over here we go and we type in the $300 for the amount that we got paid from our job. Over here we'll type in the $50 for our fuel, $60 for our groceries, $70 for our allowance, $50 for our emergencies. That was our other expense. I just put in emergencies. And then down here we see that we have $70 for our savings. We need to put that $70 in our savings account the day our direct deposit hits. That's out of sight, out of mind. We're not allowed to spend it. It's gone. It's just like paying any other bill. We're not allowed to use that. So up here is the projected. That's like what we think that we're going to be spending over the next 2 weeks. Then down here is our actual. And the way that we get our numbers for our actual is that we type in like our different purchases. So for like an allowance, like say if I went bowling with a friend and that cost me $10, then I type that in, and then over here we can see that the $10 was taken for bowling. And then in my remaining amount, I have $60 for spending in my allowance still. Say if you don't use all the money that you have set aside, you can choose to put that towards your allowance for the next pay period, or you can choose to put that towards your savings account. I recommend putting it towards your savings account, or you can do a 50-50 split depending on if you didn't spend. So here's an example of it all filled out. Say this is the Thursday before my next pay period. Spent $60 on that new Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I know a lot of you guys are going to be getting it. And then I went to the gas station twice, Holiday gas station for one, and then Shell for the other one. Spent the exact same $25. I brought that just the $25 for each time. For the groceries, spent evenly $20 at Hy-Vee, $20 at Cub Foods, $20 at Whole Foods. And then unfortunately I got a flat tire. So it was fortunately for me, they didn't have to replace the tire, but they just had to patch it up. So that cost me $25. But luckily for me, I had $50 set aside for my emergencies, and so I still have $25 remaining there. And then if I go down here, I can see that I have $35 remaining. So this is that thing that I was saying, like either I can just type in over here and say allowance was moved to next pay period, and then I can just type in the $35. Once I've done this, you can see that all my total $230 was used, $230, and I have no money remaining. And then If you look down here, I spent a little bit more on my allowance, but that's just because of that $35 and then that I moved forward. But I didn't spend the full. I'm going to remove this real quick. So if I remove this, you can see that I spend $10 less than on my allowance, so that's why I'm moving $10 forward to the next allowance. And then also I didn't spend the full $25, so I had 30. That's where I got the $35 left over. So that's the budget. So basically every 2 weeks I just do that. I fill out the date up top. I do the Friday to the Thursday before I get paid. If you do, you get paid twice a month, just do from the day you get paid all the way to the day before. I hope you liked the video. It's time for me to go bowling now, so I'm going to take $10 for my allowance, put the rest back. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.